Hey guys, welcome back to Dipswitch Demos. My name is Jackson and today we are checking out the Victory Amps VC35 The Coppper. That I really started to cut my teeth as a guitar player and a gigging guitar player was a Vox AC30, and I really loved that thing. It was the first time I really started to develop my own sound and hone in on my playing style and sort of understand tone, I guess, and how to be heard in a band mix. To cut a long story short, after a long summer of gigging, I did my back in lifting the thing up a couple of flights of stairs to a dingy venue. Not something you particularly want when you're 17 or 18 years old. So it was time to move the big girl on. I sold it and ended up getting the Victory V40, which you see behind me hopefully, and has been in pretty much 99% of my videos since then for about 5 years. But I couldn't tell you why I'd moved away from that Voxy sound, the Voxy sound that I'd loved and that I'd developed my own tone with. And it's always been at the back of my mind of what I would sound like today if I was playing an EL84 chiming amp. then in steps the Coppper from Victory, basically their AC style amp. You know, pretty much that's what it is. And I have to tell you, I instantly felt at home when I plugged this thing in. I had a rush back of memories of playing those dingy venues, playing in my old band. Those sorts of tones just felt so good to be playing them again. But so much better, so much more refined, so much more detailed, with so much more scope as well. This amp covers so much more ground than a traditional AC style amp. From super clean, I'm not going to say Fender's type cleans, but they are quite sparkling type cleans, to low gain, medium gain, and then really quite high gain if you want it. What struck me as well is how much character the amp has, especially when using pedals, moving from the Victory V40, which I guess is traditionally a pedal platform type amp. This amp, the Coppper, takes pedals really well, but adds its own spin onto the pedal. Say it's a fuzz pedal, say it's a tone bender type fuzz, it sounds like a tone bender going into an old school amp with tons of character. I hope I'm explaining that okay. What I'm trying to get across is that the Coppper has so much character, and no pedal is going to change that character. It's just going to adjust it, and it's always going to sound like the Coppper. This isn't a new amp. It's been out maybe a couple of years, so I'm not going to bore you with too many specs, but they're worth covering really quickly. The Coppper is a 35 watt single channel EL84 style amp. Like I said, it covers clean to medium to high gain with a 3-band EQ and a separate tone control, which I love. Built-in digital reverb, effects loop, and a low power 12 watt mode. For me, even though there's that 3-band EQ on here, I've been doing most of my tone shaping with the bass cut switch and the mid boost switch, and then the tone control as well. Those three give you so much power over your tone. The bass cut switch especially is such a great tool and actually does more than cutting the bass. Cutting that bass seems to open up the amp more, give you more clean headroom, which I found has been great for using pedals and also taming some gnarlier fuzz pedals. The mid-boost switch is great for getting those sort of Brian May treble boosted type tones, and the tone control basically works like a traditional tone cut knob on a Vox amp, but in reverse, if you know what I mean. So when you turn up the tone knob on the Coppper, it gets more trebly. Leaves a little bit to be desired. I think it's exactly the same one in my V40, and I've never quite got on with it. It's more of a hall type reverb, and I would prefer more even a digital spring type thing, but my solution to that is that I just don't use it. I use a Strymon Flint or something like that to get my spring type reverb. I've also never been an effects loop guy. I tend to run my amps pretty clean or on the sort of verge of breakup, and so the effects loop, I'm not really using it, but it is useful to have when you're running this at higher gain levels, which this thing can absolutely do. This thing can go way past Brian May gain territories and really into some hard classic rock tones. For the majority of time that I've been using this amp, I've been running it through my Boss as a tube amp expander, which I do pretty much for all my amps and recording at home. This allows me to run the amp pretty loud actually. I've got the master like nearly above halfway. Oh, at halfway, and so this is really in the amp sweet spot I've found. Enough headroom for pedals, but still pushing the amp hard enough. So this has meant that I've not really had a use for the low power 12 watt mode, so for more bedroom volume levels, but from my testing, it does exactly what you expect it to. Sounds the same, but lower volumes, lower headroom, still probably loud enough for small gigs, but you're gonna break up the amp sooner, probably get a bit more of a gainy sound, which is never a bad thing. that just about covers the Coppper from Victory. I'm super excited to kind of move forwards with this amp and use it alongside my V40. They're both different enough to kind of warrant, you know, choosing between the two for different situations. I can actually imagine a really nice dual amp setup with the two together, because I think they would complement each other really nicely. And I have to tell you guys that it feels so good to sort of go back to my amp roots in a way, to go back to a similar sort of tone that I grew up with and what I kind of learnt to play guitar on, but come back to it, you know, 5-6 years later as a more grown-up guitar player. I guess that feels weird to say, but you know what I mean. It feels great to go back to that style of amp, and it feels like home. It really does feel like home, and I can't wait to get to play it more. Thank you guys for checking out the video. If you like what you saw, please subscribe and maybe check out some more videos, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers guys.